Hello, hello. Okay, so hi, I'm Katie. I'm the founder and CEO of TapOnIt. Real quick, for those of you who do not know, TapOnIt is a text marketing platform, SMS, MMS focus. We work with a wide variety of brands to help connect you directly with your audiences. So if you're looking to enter the texting space, please talk to me at some point. And we have Leesa here, who I would also like to make a correction. She is the Chief Marketing Officer at RingCentral. How's that?
Thank you.
You're so welcome. So would you start off by telling us a little bit about RingCentral for those of you who might not know?
Yeah, so I work for RingCentral, as Katie says, and RingCentral is not a doorbell company. We sell unified communications software as a service. And what that is text, a little bit like
Big fan.
Yeah. Text, voice, and video combined in one app, stored in the cloud, allows you to get rid of all your PBX equipment, work on everything on a computer. And it's just an amazing software service that we really enjoy promoting.
Well, and yesterday we had our intro call using your calling services, and it worked extremely well. It was easy to use, and it was a great experience. So highly recommended.
Yep. We're a $2 billion, 20-year-old publicly traded company that everyone thinks sells doorbells. So yeah. Chief brand officer. Obviously, I've got still some work ahead of me, but
I was going to say, I feel like you're in the right place to help fix that.
Right.
So before we talk about your position at RingCentral and everything that you're working on there, why don't you tell us all a little bit about your past careers? Because you've had some amazing experiences.
Thank you. So my career's been something for me that's been a lot of fun because it's been incredibly diverse. And I consider myself to be kind of an industry agnostic marketer. I started off in the agency world. I went to Pac Bell Wireless, which really dates me, that then became Singular and then became AT&T Mobility. And I was there for about 10 years. Then went to Vonage, which is a VoIP phone provider. Went from there to be CMO of Jenny Craig. So weight loss from telecom kind of. And then from there to oversee brand for Farmers Insurance. We are farmers. Right. And now back in kind of the software telecommunications world. So lots of kind of diversity of categories, and it's been a ton of fun.
Well, okay. So yeah, that is a wide range of industries there. When we talked, you said, you had really done a lot of B2C. And now you're in more of a B2B role, but tell us a little bit about that and how what you've done in the past is transitioned into what you're doing now.
Yeah, it has been a big shift. Part of the reason I took the role at RingCentral was I hadn't worked in B2B, and I kind of loved the diversity of my career. That's been a lot of the fun, and this gave me an opportunity to really try something new, stretch out into a new space, kind of spread my wings a little bit, and at the end of the day, people are people. Even though we're marketing to businesses, they're still people making decisions at the end of the day. And, taking the skill set from all the different roles I've had. I mean, Vonage is probably one of the best examples. My biggest success there was marketing to the Asian Indian community in Hindi. I don't speak Hindi.
I was going to be really impressed.
Yeah. I mean, and I actually
really impressed.
But why I was able to be successful with that was we did really deep research into what made that community kind of tick, and what were their needs and what were their desires, and how could our products serve them. And that was probably my biggest learning experience into understanding the consumer, not just based on like the gut feel of marketing, which I think some of us get sucked into. We all think we know the target audience, or even think we are the target audience. This was a case where like, I'm not the target audience, don't speak the language, totally different culture. And we were able to be incredibly successful. And so I've taken that everywhere I've gone as one of the kind of key things that helps me in marketing. When I went to Jenny Craig, it was a similar situation where almost everyone who worked there, majority were women. We were in San Diego. Most women at some point in their lives have like concerned themselves with their weight. So that everybody thinks I'm the target audience. The target audience is not coastal elites in San Diego who have access to organic food and farmers markets and fitness all around them. The target market was more kind of middle America, eating fast food. Yeah, Iowa. Yeah, But that was something I had to really educate people there, that we aren't the target audience, and just because something resonates with us doesn't mean it's right for our target. So coming into a B2B capacity, it's still the same thing. I'm talking to tech buyers, I'm talking to IT decision makers, talking to small business owners who have IT needs, but they're still human beings who have like an emotional thing to fix. And I would argue that while we think about emotion in the consumer market a lot, in some ways, B2B, it's an even bigger emotional decision because your decision making impacts an entire company. And that can be really, really emotional in your decisioning. So we have to talk to those people. It just means, good targeting, understanding the audience, and hitting them where it's most important for them at that time they're in that decision making timeframe.
So, I mean, RingCentral is a huge company.
Yep.
20 years old, you said. And, you mentioned SMBs, small businesses. Is there a specific target that you go after for business size?
Yeah, actually pretty much all businesses, everything from small business, SOHO, all the way up to the largest enterprise organizations. So that does make for a lot of different targets that we have to talk to.
Sure.
We're a pretty big company, so we have budgets that allow us to span that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have to really think differently about what is, somebody who owns a bakery who they don't care about IT. They just want their phone to work, right? They want to be able to take a phone call. They want to be able to
avoid it if possible. They just need it to work.
Versus people who need the full call center experience combined with video and chat and all the kind of back end and the analytics that help them analyze whether or not their call center reps are taking the calls properly, spending the right amount of time on the phone or too much time on the phone,
right,
and all the things that go with it. So it's a wide swath.
Sure. So have you seen anything in particular that seems to resonate really well with SMBs? Like how have you, and I know that you haven't been at RingCentral for super long, but is there, a tone that you use in marketing to SMBs versus enterprise that you see working well?
Yeah, we're allowed to have a little more fun, I think, with the SMB market. We launched a brand campaign, I guess in February. That was the first big national brand campaign the company had ever done. And we hired an actor by the name of Jay Morgan, who's a riot. He's a comedian. Look him up on Instagram. He's super funny. And we had him play identical twin brothers named Zach, and one Zach with a K, one Zach with a CH. And
his parents weren't very original.
Yeah, they're not original parents. But we used that just to educate, and he was always, he was solving the communication woes of the world, through RingCentral. And that really resonated well. It actually worked for enterprise as well. From the point we launched the campaign until May, so less than 6 months, we had a, 15% increase in aided awareness, a 33% increase in consideration, and drove an incremental 40% of unique visitors to our website.
That's amazing.
Yeah, a big lift in awareness. And that was having some fun in a category that can be a little stale. Enterprises still want to hear about the spots and dots and the details of how your technology works and all the specifics of, how reliable it is. We pride ourselves on what we call 5 nines, which is, I'm getting dorky on this stuff, but 99.999% availability.
Right.
It's always working, which makes a big difference. So that, we can take that in more deep communication into the enterprise.
Awesome. Okay. So, coming from your past careers and the things that you've done there compared to what you're doing now, are there specific ideas, marketing channels that you've been able to lean back on from your old experience to bring it in here?
Yeah, there's been probably a pretty big shift for me. We did a little bit of TV with RingCentral, but that's, unless it's super targeted OTT, it's not really the right space for us. And, farmers, obviously there was a ton of television, of radio, audio, kind of across the spectrum, and then a ton of digital. This is now much more, we do use OTT, we're using podcasts, but then very, very targeted and surround communication. So a lot of content, a lot of thought leadership materials, and then retargeting and kind of all the traditional stuff, affiliate channels and whatnot, all the B2B stuff. Sure. But it is different for sure.
And so what's the goal of the marketing campaigns? Demand gen?
Demand gen.
All right.
End of the day.
Okay. So what's
raising awareness?
Yes,
absolutely.
Of course.
That's always there. Especially, that's one of our biggest challenges is there's just low awareness of the brand.
Sure.
Again, people think we sell doorbells, so trying to make sure they understand. Sorry, guys. Oh, there we go. There we go. I'm back.
Am I back? Oh, Gosh.
I totally forgot what I was talking about.
Doorbells.
Doorbells. No, I don't want to talk about doorbells. I
No,
want to talk about
sorry.
software.
Sorry. Yes. I think we were talking a little bit about demand gen.
Yeah, demand gen.
Um,
So obviously raising awareness,
Yes.
first priority.
Thank you.
You have to have enough awareness and people knowing about you at the time they're ready to make a purchase. And one of the things in the software space is at any given moment, there's only about 5% of your target audience who's looking to make a purchase. So you have to have enough awareness that when it's time to buy, they're thinking about you.
Right.
But then once we've got some interest, we've really got to continue all the touch points. And in the case of an enterprise, it can take 6 to 9 months from the time they get first express interest to actually buying with the purchase cycles and whatnot.
Right.
So there's a lot of full funnel marketing that drives that.
And so once you get that initial awareness and you're pulling them into the funnel, at what point is it less on the marketing team and more on like your sales team and the outreach to really bring that conversation in?
There's a term that gets used so much that it kind of goes into your I can't say the BS bingo card. That we call interlock.
Oh my goodness. I'm just kidding.
We all have one of those, right?
Yes.
all the bingo terms that you hear in meetings. We've had a bunch of them, but that interlock is one for me that's like, okay, we're talking about interlock again. But it's that meshing of sales and marketing throughout the entire process.
Yeah.
So, daily, we're looking at how many leads have come in, how many of those converted to ops, to sell, and then what's happening with them. And marketing takes them most of the way through. And then a lot of times I feel like we're handing sales a pretty little package with a bow on it and say, here, please go close this, which is
ideal for the sales team.
Right. That's been probably one of the biggest shifts for me is that motion of really taking the lead all the way through until it's completely qualified and ready to close versus, in my past life, it was kind of like, here they are and go at it. And we have less of that in the B2B world.
Interesting. So is there anything in particular that you're excited about right now? New marketing channels, new outreach, anything that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think the thing I'm really excited about, which is just something I've loved in my entire career. I worked at Vonage, which had the woohoo, woohoo, for those of you who remember those old campaigns. That's something I brought back kind of from the dead when I joined Vonage. And then farmers, obviously, there's we are farmers.
Da, 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 da.
Right. Yeah. So mnemonics and sound to me they're so emotional, and there's something that it gives just a quick hit on remembering
memorability
memorability. Thank you. And it's kind of a cheat almost, but it's a great one. I actually I love jingles, which
it's so powerful. I mean, it is something.
I know that it's like you're not supposed to like jingles anymore. I guess it's like, I don't know, cheesy or something. But my mom tells me stories that when I was 5 years old, I was singing the Burger King jingle in my sleep. So clearly it's something that's been with me a long time. So one of the things I am working on is trying to find a way to integrate some sort of sound design into either, whether it's an audio logo or it's some sort of mnemonic. I think everybody here, anybody who uses Slack, you have that visceral reaction to that sound when you hear it.
I had to turn it off.
Right. I don't want that kind of reaction, but I do. There's either a sound I can pull from the app that we have already, or some sort of mnemonic that we can use to create more awareness. And so that's kind of next up in my big projects. We're in the process right now of kind of just revamping our brand positioning, and I need to get that nailed, and then that will fall. The sound can fall out of that.
I have no idea how you even start down that path. So I'm excited to see what you come up with.
We've gone down, we've started just the foray into it. It's fun. It's really fun. We have a yodel. The yodel probably won't make it, but it's still kind of cool. Not a yacht.
Do you want to share it?
No,
I'm just kidding.
No one wants me to sing. Promise you, no one wants me to sing. But good stuff.
All right. That's awesome. Okay. So let's shift gears a little bit here. You told me some very cool things about yourself, and I'm going to use a curse word. That you are a total badass. You are an ocean swimmer.
Yep.
You do triathlons.
Yep.
And you've really been able to tie those things into your work life. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've used this example a lot on big projects when I'm especially coaching a team, because sometimes you get a project and it's like, oh God, there's no way we can get this done. It's too big. It's too scary. It's too, too audacious a goal. Where do you start? And I do like to compare it sometimes to doing an Ironman, which in its the middle of it sounds insane, right? It sounds impossible. It's a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and then a 26 mile run, which is
No,
It's
thank you.
stupid. Like, who wants to do that?
Okay, good. I'm glad you know.
I mean, I've done a couple,
Which is why
though
you're a
they're stupid,
badass and
even though
totally amazing.
And I mean, right now I'm not fit enough to do one. And the thought of it's like, that's impossible. There is no way. But you take that and you set the goal and you set an end date and you say, okay, I'm going to do these things to get there. And every day you chip away at those goals. And then the reality sets in and you twist your ankle, or you go on a business trip and you miss a swim and you miss a run, and the project goes a little sideways and some vendor bails out. It's the same sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of redirect and bring yourself back to the goal. And with good planning and with good structure,
Sure.
you can pretty much do things that initially sound impossible. And I think that's been something that's really helped me kind of wrap my head around, the big scary things.
Yeah.
That, you can make it happen. So.
Well, and when she was talking about ocean swimming, I'm like, I won't even go because I'm going to be eaten by a shark. Like, that's 100% my immediate
Sharks
thought.
do not want to eat you.
I wish I could believe you. I wish I could believe
really
you,
not.
but that's okay. I'm glad that you do it. And so clearly, like we've talked about, you've been in a lot of different industries. You've had some amazing roles, cool opportunities.
Yep.
And you're a woman. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Can you, I know, right? Surprise. So can you talk a little bit just about your journey and, how you feel like, rising through your career? Has there been any difficulties that maybe you experienced as a female that maybe you wouldn't have? And like, how do you help pave the way within your company, which, I mean, telecommunications has been a predominantly male category.
Yeah. It's been interesting because I think, as I was coming up, it was a different era. And I think for women to get along in business, there was only really room for one in most spaces. And that created a different kind of competition, which was interesting. And I think we've seen that shift, which is amazing. You're seeing more women that are interested in and excited to lift other women up.
Yeah.
I think that really, really helps. Lizzo did a speech just the other day that was like so amazing. And I will misquote it if I try, but she's, basically, I've never seen anybody like me out here. And I decided I have to be the one to do it, which was just, such an awesome thing to say.
That was so awesome. I watched it as well. And yeah. Amazing.
So I mean, there's a little of that and there's the bringing people along, but I think, in years back in my early 20s, I tolerated a lot of stuff because I had to, and you had to kind of laugh and go, hey, that sexist joke is really funny. And yeah, I'm grateful that women now don't necessarily have to put up with that as much.
Right.
There's still some of it. There's still opportunities, I think, where women, especially less maybe seasoned, regardless of age, but we're not having the confidence to say, that's not okay. Don't say that. And we need other women and male allies in the room to help kind of lift that up. Right. And then there's even situations where women need to think about how they're treating other women.
Sometimes that whole like high school caddy type thing comes out.
And that, I mean, there's an example, and there's a woman here in the audience that she and I had this conversation. Hi, Amanda. I see you over there. One of my employees had an opportunity to go to this like great like team building and coaching thing.
Sure.
And she had 2 babies at home, and the opportunity came up, and I said, "Oh, she wouldn't want to do that. She's too busy."
I see what you're saying.
And Amanda pulled me aside afterwards and said, "Give her the chance to say no herself." And I thought, like, I'm trying to take care of her.
Right.
Like, this is something that, like, how is she going to make this work? She's, single mom raising 2 babies. And I offered her the opportunity. She's like, I'll figure it out. I can't wait to go. And it ended up being something that really helped her in her career. And I could have really stymied her by trying to help her.
Sure.
And it takes sometimes bouncing things around and going, am I doing the right thing? Would I coach a man the same way I'm coaching a woman?
Right.
And sometimes you don't. And that's, you got to think about, like, why am I doing that? And try to help just to temper it and think about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just putting it out there as an opportunity and letting them make the decision.
Right.
So yeah, that's very cool. So I know we're coming up on time here in 5 minutes. Yes. Yeah. All right. Good. I wasn't sure if that was 10 because you did it twice, but I figured it out. So is there anything else like in your career and, with the different things that we've talked about, what you enjoy on the personal side with the swimming and the triathlons, as you've come up through the industry, that you feel like you could speak to give advice to people in the room?
Yeah, I think, my biggest thing is finding, I think work-life balance is kind of a bullshit term, but finding the right place on the pendulum. And for me, the athletic stuff is something that helps me, I work out in the mornings, and I'm religious about it. And I think that setting time for yourself that is yours, and like, for me, the mornings, the reason that really works for me is no matter how sideways your day goes, you've done something positive for yourself before the day starts. And so like the day is never a total fail. Right. Well, sometimes the workout sucks too, and then it is a total fail. But at least, you've done something that is personal before you've given too much to the business.
At what point in your life did you figure that out? Because I only just in the past couple of years, like, realized that I needed to prioritize myself. And one of them was through paying attention to my health and fitness.
Right. I'm not quite sure. For me, part of it, the morning thing is that, that I realized that was the only time that was going to work, because there's also someone at 5:30 or 6 says, you want to go grab a glass of wine? I go, yes.
Right.
So the workout gets shot like instantly.
100%.
And then, like, okay, I've had fun, but have I also accomplished the things I want to accomplish on a personal level?
Yeah.
So setting that time, I've got kind of rules with my team, which you wouldn't think you'd have to concern yourself with, but I'm not available between 5:30 and 8, which is like, give me a break. Right. But at the same time, I've got
you sound like you have an awesome team.
No, I have an international team. So they do start pinging me,
Sure.
They start pinging me at 2 a.m. So it's like shutting everything off and just saying, I'm not available from this time, and trying to be very, very strict about that. And then I do have the flexibility when someone says, do you want wine? I can go, yes, without even hesitating.
Clearly no hesitation.
Right.
So, okay. One thing that you said is something that I've always had the mindset of too, where that whole work-life balance is kind of bullshit, right? It's hard to.
It's a pendulum. Sometimes it's not in balance.
So, in the recent years, I've been able to grow my staff at TapOnIt, and we've added a lot of very young people, amazing people, to the team. And I actually feel like they've helped to teach me a little bit more about work-life balance and about being able to know when to turn it on and turn it off. And even just, in their priorities, where it may not be just salary, it's vacation and having a flex schedule.
Mhm.
Have you seen that happening within at RingCentral and previously?
Yeah, I think it's true. The Gen Z and millennials in particular, they both, there's more focus on DE&I, there's more focus on diversity, there's more, repeating myself, more focus on, purpose-led business and work.
Yeah.
And then also having a little bit more just balance. I mean, I just read an article I don't forget which one, Fortune Forbes, on the soft life, which was an interesting idea of just making enough money to to have the life you want. And it's hard, I think, for those of us, especially when you've got a boomer boss who's like work.
Right.
And then, having a different kind of work ethic that has shifted generation by generation, that, that the hustle and the boss girl or whatever the terms are starting to fade out, and people are just trying to find that right
That's
combo.
exactly. Yeah. I worked in the newspaper industry before this, and it was definitely like you work all the time.
Yeah.
And that was what they expected. And it's been cool to learn from these younger generations that you don't have to live to work, you work to live. Right. And it's a total different mindset that we've had to adapt to as leaders. And but I think it's made me better. So
I agree.
Yeah. Well, okay. So anything in the last 2 minutes that you want to share with the team here? They're all of our friends here in the audience.
No pressure.
No pressure. Sorry. Other than swimming in the ocean, amidst sharks and doing triathlons, anything else that helps to drive you both in life and business?
It's setting, I think, fun things to do outside of work.
Yeah.
I love to travel. So having those little things waiting in the wings, at every opportunity.
That's why we follow brand innovators around, is it gives us an opportunity to go cool places. So,
Exactly.
yeah, I know it works out really
Thanks,
well.
brand innovators.
Yeah. Thanks, brand innovators. Well, thank you so much for sitting
Thank
down. I think
you.
this was absolutely fantastic, and I loved getting the chance to meet you.
You too.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.